Today on Sugar Spun Run, we'll be making a French silk pie. Hey Sugar Spun Bakers, Sam here, and today I am so excited to be sharing another carefully tested, well-researched, and perfected recipe. Today's recipe took a lot of testing. I am crazy about how it turned out. It has a nice, rich texture and a deep chocolate flavor. Let's go ahead and get started. Now, the first thing you're going to need for today's recipe is a blind baked pie crust. I highly recommend that you follow, I'll leave a link in the description, make my homemade pie crust and blind bake it according to my instructions. You won't regret it. It has the best flavor. So once that pie crust is baked and ready to go, we can move on to our chocolate filling. The first ingredient you need is 8 ounces of bittersweet chocolate. Bittersweet chocolate is about 70%. If you can't find that, you could use a 60% chocolate. I don't love using semi-sweet, it's a little too sweet for me, but that's an option as well if you like your chocolate a little sweeter. Now I've gone ahead and I've chopped this into pieces because I'm going to be microwaving it. Before I do that, I'm going to add a ½ cup of unsalted butter in with the chocolate. So this is a microwave safe bowl. We're going to melt these together. Now to help everything melt smoothly, I'm just going to cut this butter into pat-sized pieces. And anytime you're heating chocolate, you want to go nice and slowly. So I'm going to heat this in about 20-second intervals, stirring well in between until the mixture is smooth and the chocolate and butter are both completely melted. Still a little lumpy here, so I'm going to do another 20 seconds. Okay, chocolate's nice and smooth. We're going to set this aside for the time being, and now we are going to need a double boiler. Now, I don't actually have a double boiler, so I just make myself a makeshift one using a medium-sized saucepan and a heat-proof bowl that fits nicely in here. The important thing is the bowl doesn't touch the bottom of the pot. And as you can see, I filled this pot with about 1.5, maybe 2 inches of water. Again, the water does not touch the bottom of the bowl. That's super important. Now we're going to bring this water to a simmer. Once our water is simmering, we'll add our bowl, and then we're going to add 4 large eggs to our double boiler bowl. And we're also going to add 3/4 cup of granulated sugar and a ½ teaspoon of salt. Now I want to keep this water at a simmer. Sometimes this thing gets a little aggressive. I'm going to turn the heat down just a notch. And now I'm going to whisk constantly. Get everything nicely mixed up, get those yolks broken up. This does take some patience. It usually takes me about 10 minutes, but don't crank up the heat or you'll end up cooking your eggs. Just be patient, keep on whisking, keep everything moving. Make sure you're getting up on the sides of the bowl occasionally, that way you can knock down any sugar that might be there. And we're going to do this until the mixture reaches 160 degrees, and you also want to make sure that if you take a little bit of the mixture, it is hot, and you rub it between your fingers, you shouldn't feel any grit. That's a good way to make sure that the sugar has completely dissolved. And I just use an instant read thermometer, check the temperature. I don't know if you'll be able to see that. We're close, we're not quite there yet. Traditional French silk pies are often made with raw eggs, but when I shared my chocolate mousse recipe with raw eggs, a lot of you told me that you would much rather have cooked eggs, so I'm happy to oblige, and we are using cooked eggs in my recipe. That way nobody has to worry about indulging. I bet we're there now. Let's take a look. All right, we're at 160, so we're going to remove this from heat, but be careful because that steam is going to try to burn your hands. We'll carefully remove this. All right, now this bowl's just a little bit smaller than I'd like it to be, so I'm going to transfer this egg mixture to, bowl's hot, be careful, to a slightly larger bowl. It's gonna make it a little easier for me to mix everything together. All right, now you are going to want to grab yourself an electric mixer, and we're going to start mixing this. What we're going for is we want this mixture to be significantly increased in volume. We want it to be a nice pale yellow. And then I'm going to show you what it should look like when it's finished. You're probably going to end up whisking everything together for at least 10 minutes before you're ready to go on to the next step. And I always start with my mixer on low speed and then just gradually increase it to high. Now I'm just going to keep on mixing. You could absolutely do this with a stand mixer with a whisk attachment instead. It'll make things a little bit quicker. So you can see the mixture's light in here. We're not done yet. We're going to keep going until it's almost white. Okay, so I've only been mixing for about 6 minutes so far, but this is looking pretty good to me, and you're really going to want to go by appearance and the texture of your mixture rather than by time specifically. So the way I can tell that it's done is it's increased in volume, Whoops, it's super light in color. I mean, it's almost white in color. It's not very yellow anymore. But also, we're going to lift the beaters up out of the bowl and see that it falls down in a nice ribbon. Well, I want that ribbon to hold its shape for a couple of seconds before it completely dissolves back into the batter. So you can see those little trails that I made holding their shape for a bit. Now I know that we are good to go on to our next step. Now our next step is to grab our chocolate mixture from earlier, and I want to briefly give this a little bit of a stir. I want to make sure it hasn't re-solidified. It should not have in this time. And I'm going to go ahead and add this into my egg mixture. It's so silky. I will mix this in until everything's nicely incorporated and uniform in color. All right, now to give this pie some really nice flavor, we are going to add 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, and I also love to add just a pinch of espresso powder. This is 1/4 teaspoon. This is optional, sticking a little bit, but if you like a nice, almost bitter chocolate flavor, it's still sweet, don't worry, but if you like the dark chocolate sort of taste, you're going to want to add that espresso powder. We're gonna mix this in. Once it's a little bit combined, I'm going to increase my mixer speed to high. I'm just gonna mix for another 30 seconds. All right, we're almost done with our pie filling, but you are going to need to grab yourself a different bowl, and we are going to whip our cream in this one. I've switched out my beaters for some clean ones. I have a cup of heavy cream here. It's nice and cold. Add it to my bowl, and I'm just going to go ahead and whip this to stiff peaks. I'll show you what that looks like. And this should just take a couple minutes. Anyone out there wants an arm workout, go ahead and try to make this recipe by hand. All right, so here you have it, nice stiff peaks, it's thick, it's fluffy, it's holding its shape. So we're going to go ahead and add this to our chocolate mixture. Oh, but before you do that, you want to make sure your chocolate mixture is cooled completely. Just touch the bottom of the bowl, it should not feel warm at all. Mine feels pretty good. We can add our whipped cream. Now do not use your electric mixer at this point. We are going to gently fold together the ingredients. We don't want to work all that air that we just beat into the cream. We don't want to work it out of the cream. So we're just going to gently fold everything together until everything is nicely incorporated and no streaks remain. All right, I'm pretty happy with how this is looking, so I'm going to grab my pie crust and we'll just add our filling right in there. I'm just gonna smooth out the surface a little bit here. So I'm gonna take this over to my fridge because this pie is going to need to sit for at least 6 hours, preferably overnight, before we can cut into it. Now, if you're using your regular fridge, you're probably going to want to cover this with a piece of plastic wrap. That's going to keep it from absorbing any odors from the fridge. Otherwise, you can just put it in just like this. That should be fine. Now, of course, I do have a French silk pie that I prepped last night, so we didn't have to wait 6 hours to dig in. So let's go ahead and slice into this. I want you to see that nice texture. Turn it on its side a little bit. It's holding its shape perfectly fine, so yours should not be pudding-like or too soft or anything like that. You see, I could pick it up and just eat it like that. Might do that, actually. And that is how you make my favorite French silk pie. I really hope you guys enjoyed today's recipe, and if you try this one out, please leave me a comment and let me know what you think. I always love hearing from you. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Look how creamy. Oh, this is so good. That was good.